Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm going to try to lower my blood pressure through MacBook repair. Let's see if it works. Here we have a MacBook that's not turning on. It has no power. Let's see if it powers on and functions. Or if we can get it to power on and function. A happy little MacBook. All this MacBook ever wanted to do is Mac, but Apple designed it so poorly that it's not able to Mac. Alright, so we're inside this machine, and we have a Samsung 970 EVO SSD. So somebody has replaced the SSD, but they're saying it doesn't power on. Now, one thing that makes me sad here is seeing that a Phillips screw is used on the SSD rather than the standard Torx T5 screw. Okay, so we're going to turn my multimeter and my power supply on. So it's taking 25 milliamps and not turning on. That makes me very sad, because that's typically PM Sleep S4L missing. Let's take the board out of this and see if it's PM Sleep S4L missing or something that's actually fixable. Is this a board for me or a board for Chris? One way to find out. Alright, I spent an hour on a board that had missing platform reset, but was turning the fan on with no corrosion. It's in Chris's status now.
CPU?
Chris is the new Paul. Every time there's a board like that, it's going in the Chris status instead of the Paul status. .5, so the SMC is turning on, but the green light is not turning on. But I don't know if that's because of my shit charger or because of this MacBook. I really do need to get a new MagSafe cable. This MagSafe cable is very disappointing. So I'm going to use a MagSafe 1 that I know lights up, that's actually clean. Neither of them give a green light. Very interesting. So our issue here may be a lack of green light, more so than a missing PM Sleep S4L. Now the issue is not going to be that the SMC is not turning on, because the SMC has to be turning on for PPBus to be what it is. And I see something funny right around the one-wire circuit. Now I don't know if that's been soldered before. I don't know if that's just bad soldering from the factory. I don't know if I'm just seeing things because I want because I'm hungry for my lentils. Thank you very much, Shark with Manners, for the 9 pounds and 99 ounces. Pence. So the first thing I want to do is I want to see what adapter sense from the charger is. Because if the charger is not putting out 3 volts, then this is pointless. And it looks like I get 0 volts on adapter sense. That's not good. That means my charger is not even trying to communicate with the machine. Now let's see what I get on... Let's see if this chip is even turning on. Or perhaps this chip is shorted to ground and that's shorting my adapter sense to ground. You never know. Let's see what I get on pin 1. Pin 1 is 3 volts, so the chip is receiving power. The one, okay, that's interesting. It says one wire is actually 3 volts, but adapter sense is nothing. So let's see if that's simply because of I'm using the wrong charger. Let's go back to the MagSafe 2. One volt is 3 volts is there at pin 1, and adapter sense is still 0.01 volts. Now that means there could be a number of things wrong with this. Behind door number 1, the DC in board could be bad. The DC in board is what's going to allow adapter sense to communicate with the machine. As you can see over here, thank you very much, Jim Hook. We will use those butt wipes to wipe Oreo's ass, and by we I mean mostly Steve. Steve will wipe Oreo's ass. Oreo will go home once Lewis's data is fully recovered. Steve's probably going to take all my porn and nasty crap from that 10-year-old drive and post it online.
In that case, anybody who Lewis's data, we can start bidding.
Yeah, adapter sense is 0 volts. So this could be a number of things. Behind door number 1, both of my chargers could be bad. Always possible, but I don't like it. If the charge port is bad, it's not going to pass adapter sense to this chip. The charger could be bad, but I tried 2 chargers, so I don't know if that's going to be what it is. And the third thing that could be potentially bad is U7000 could be bad and shorting this to ground, which is a possibility that I would consider here because the charge chip looks like this, which is not supposed to look like. One thing I could do is remove that chip and see if it goes away. The other thing I could do is unplug the DC in board and plug a new one in. But I don't have a spare DC in board here for an A1398. I'm not sure where I would find one.
Boom!
Paul just gave me one for Christmas.
No, I did not.
I have
It's
a
on
new...
loan.
Paul just gave me a new DC in board for Christmas. Wow. Maybe with this luck I'll get a 3D X-ray machine next. Okay. So we plug this in. And we still don't have a green light. Now let's see if anything's changed on adapter sense. Nothing, 0.09 volts. Now, one thing I want to check on, just because, what the hell, is it present at the charge port but not present on the chip? Now on the charge port, adapter sense is going to be the one that's all the way to the left according to the DC, according to the board view. And it's still 0.09. So that didn't fix our problem. Which makes me wonder if this chip is shorting adapter sense to ground. This is behavior that I have never seen in all the years I've done board repair. I've never seen a Max 9940 chip from the one-wire circuit shorting adapter sense to ground like that. That's really strange. But you never know. Maybe this will be our problem. If this is our problem... Hannah, have you said hello to Oreo today?
Yes.
Look at that cat.
I'm Oreo themed today.
So, JP said that we're not getting any more donuts if Oreo Cat goes home. So he has to stay here.
I'll take cookies.
Tell Oreo that, tell Steve that Oreo is going to stay. No cookies, no donuts, no nothing. He will,
I'm asleep. I can't function.
tell Steve that Oreo is going to be permanent.
Oh man.
Yeah, now Oreo is going to stay. Alright. Now I'm going to plug the charger in, and it's not going to have a path to the SMC. But I'm still curious to see if adapter sense is going to go up to a higher voltage. Hi, Lewis. What was the Marine unit? Was Paul in? I was in the 9/12th Royal Lancers A Rec unit. What is that? Paul, do you know what that is? What Marine unit were you in? It was the...
Headquarters Battery, 3rd Battalion, 14th Marines, 4th Marine Division.
So what? Huh?
Headquarters Battery, 3rd Battalion, 14th Marines, 4th Marine Division. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Why can't there just be something simple like an 820 number? Why can't it just be like 820-39825 or something? That would be nice and easy to remember. Paul probably could build a nice counter.
Too much equipment needed. I'm not driving my truck up this time.
Alright, so we get, looks like 0 volts and adapter sense still. That's really strange. Really strange. Maybe because it doesn't have the ability to communicate with the SMC now? I think I got an Apple junk board, Paul. Let's fix Apple's junk. What's the company that's doing Apple's refurbs? Is it Flextronics? And oh my god, did they really solder on top of corrosion? No. Oh, come on. This is the first thing I go over in every video. You scrape and file. I'm not saying that you have to put down new pads and go crazy with that shit, but like just... if you see that something was minorly corroded, just use your wick and file a little bit. You know, this isn't like the architect that I hired that wanted, $20,000 to change the CO of the place. You know, filing is not that expensive. It's just wick and your soldering iron. Nice and simple, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Okay. Pretty. Just booting says moon crashed. When people buy treats for your office, do they remember to include crayons for Paul? What would Paul do with crayons?
I'm old school Marine, meat moon.
You what?
I'm old school Marine. We eat glue, not crayons.
Why would you eat glue? Why would Marines eat glue or a crayon? I'm missing something in this meme. Paul has much better taste than to eat glue or a crayon, I imagine. Alright, we're going to give this a second to cool off, and I'm going to see if once that chip turns on and there's communication with the SMC, if the adapter puts out more voltage on this board. If it doesn't, I'm going to then cry into my lentils and move on to the next one. Anel's going to help me bring my Nordson 3D X-ray machine down from the chimney. Anel's a good guy like that. Wished I was closer. I'm very good at painting. Very good. Huh. Yeah, we're going to have to paint too. Paul is going to be painting. I'm going to paint actually. I only painted once, and it wasn't as fun because I didn't get a chance to get the paint on the wall. All the paint wound up on my shirt. But I'd like to try again and see what happens. Alright. As you can see, we now have a green light. And we are taking 1.6 amps and the fans are spinning, which means this works. Not only have we fixed our board by replacing that chip, but I also got a new DCN board for Christmas.
Hey, I want that back. You're not keeping that. I'll eat it. Spit it right back out at you.
Shit, no bullets. So let's go over what was wrong with this MacBook. The first problem with this MacBook is that the board had a barcode with 639 on it. Paul, do you like boards with little white stickers that say 639 on them?
No.
Why not?
That means they've been touched by somebody else.
Yes.
Some factory.
And the person that touched this little board, this little MacBook,
Bad touch.
you know what they did to this little MacBook?
Bad touch.
They replaced U7000 and soldered the chip on top of a corroded joint. Really, independent repair are the people that you need to be afraid of. Independent repair are the ones that may not be doing everything right. Wow. Like, what do I say in every video when I start working on anything with even the remotest liquid damage? Don't solder on top of corrosion. I don't add solder to corrosion. I make this gentle filing motion with the iron. Even if I'm not using wick, I'm doing that. I add flux, I have solder on my tip, and I do the filing motion to ensure that I'm not adding solder to a crappy pad. It needs to make a good connection. So we look over here, and there were several possibilities as to what could have been wrong as to why it wasn't charging. So we take a look over here. Adapter sends needs to be able to speak to the SMC, and this chip acts as a bouncer. One of the things I've said before is that the charger has a 3-volt data line, adapter sends, and it has... So the charger has a 3-volt data line, which is adapter sense, and then it has the 18 volts on pins 1 and 2, which is going to potentially, if you're drunk and you're plugging it in wrong, that's going to, if you turn it around, send 20 volts to your SMC, and SMC no likey. No LTX 2020, and no Nerf gun war. No, but maybe. No, most likely no. So if we look over here, you'll see that this goes to the SMC. And what U7000 does is it says, oh, are you sending 3 volts to my SMC? Go for it. Are you sending 20 volts to my SMC? Fuck off. So that chip happened to either die or be soldered improperly by whoever put this lovely little 639 barcode on my board. And we replaced it, and now the charger has the ability to speak to the system, and it works. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'm going to go eat my lunch now and answer this phone call that just came in. I'll see you in the next video.